All right, I got one eye on you and one on my Twitter feed because I expect the president to add another longtime friend to the list of people we can no longer believe in his estimation. This time it'll be David Pecker. Who's he? He's the head of the company that publishes the National Enquirer, and according to the Wall Street Journal, he was granted immunity in the federal investigation into Trump's former attorney, Michael Cohen, in exchange for providing information on hush money deals. Now, according to sources, Pecker told federal prosecutors what seems obvious to most of us. Trump knew all along of Cohen's payments to women who had alleged sexual encounters with him. Pecker also provided investigators with details about the payments that Cohen made for the women. So let's get the White House reaction to this and a lot more. Counselor to the president, Kellyanne Conway, good to have you back on Prime Time.
Welcome to Washington.
Thank
Hi.
you. You literally just whisked in here as this show started. Timing is everything.
The president sends his greetings.
Send him my best. I hope he's watching.
Said he always liked your mother and she liked him.
Well, I got that going for me.
Don't embarrass her tonight.
I'll try. She likes you too, so you follow the same advice. Let me ask you this. Let's start off at the onset. I interviewed the president's former lawyer last night, Jay Goldberg, and he says, I don't see criminal conduct from the president when it comes to collusion with Russia. I don't see criminal conduct from the president when it comes to campaign violations. I say, but what about the lying? He says, oh, he is lying about what he did with the women, and the public will have to account for that they can't trust him to tell the truth. But it's not a crime. Do you agree with that assessment?
I think you should.
There's no criminal exposure, perhaps, in your opinion, but that he lied about this.
The president has said that he has not lied, and the president has said that no charges were filed against him in either the Manafort or the Cohen matters, as you know. And that's important here. The other thing that's really important to note, especially for the CNN viewers, Christopher, is that despite a year and a half of searching high and low, where exactly is this fictitious Russian collusion, which the New York Times said in July 11, 2017, doesn't even have legal significance. Collusion means two people are getting together, maybe to do something illicit. It's not conspiracy, which is getting together to commit a crime. Where is that? You've spent so much sweat equity, invested so many screaming graphics and time and experts talking about everything from impeachment to collusion.
Because it matters.
Lots of folks.
That's why.
No, but where is it? And why
you got to
isn't
ask Mueller. He's not done with his investigation.
No, let's be fair. You weren't waiting for Mueller. CNN is not respectful. You've not waited for Bob Mueller to finish his investigation. You've been talking because you've been talking about collusion and promising it to your viewers.
Never.
For a year and a half.
Literally not once. In fact, I say that's not the bar to my viewers almost all the time.
Why aren't you leading into the dossier? Some of your colleagues won awards.
We talk about the dossier all the time.
Guy, let's talk about it tonight because last night Michael Cohen's attorney, Lanny Davis, made very clear to your colleague and in many other appearances yesterday that there are at least 13, 14, 15 falsehoods about Michael Cohen in the dossier, including the fact that they say he's never been to Prague in his life.
You're defending Michael Cohen?
No, what I'm telling you is, what I'm telling you is you can't have it both ways. You can't for a year and a half say this is all about Russia collusion, that a campaign that I managed to its victory, I was there for the successful part of the campaign, that this man who ran and won fairly and squarely, as you full well know, you can't promise everybody that there's going to be nullification of that he didn't win fairly and squarely.
I disagree with your assessment.
Tell me.
Because it's patently untrue.
That he didn't win fairly and squarely?
We don't promise the audience an outcome. We tell them that you have to respect the process.
Do you think the democratic process worked here? Do you think he is a democratically elected president?
I think he won the Electoral College. That means he's the president of the United States.
Thank you very much. He's your president, too. And it's time to start showing the respect to this president.
Listen.
We can't even get our agenda covered on CNN.
That's not true. We cover it all the time.
Let's do it today.
But listen, hold on a second. The truth matters. That's what we sell to our audience because that's the only reason we have a job. The truth is he lied about this. You guys should own it and move forward.
I'm sorry, lied about what? I'm not going to sit here and listen to that.
Michael Cohen was doing with these women and the payments.
No,
he lied about
he
not
knew about
knowing.
it after
I know, and that's
the
a
payments
lie.
were made.
That's
Says
a
who,
lie.
You?
Yes.
Says you
me.
Why?
Says the
Why?
facts.
No,
I'll tell you
facts?
Because I heard a tape,
president said,
and on it his voice is Donald Trump, and he is listening to his lawyer tell him what he needs to do to finish his deal with his friend Pecker. Everybody's heard it. If you want it, I'll play it again.
No,
what
CNN
does that tell
plays
us?
it on a going
Well,
loop.
good. Then you've heard this. So really, I'm just refreshing your recollection. So then you know it already. You know it already.
No.
And what it shows is he was aware of what he was doing before he did it.
No.
That's the truth. He's lying.
When he was asked on Air Force One. Did you know about that? Was a question about the Stormy Daniels payment. And he said no.
And he did.
And meaning not at the time. That was in April. The whole world knew about it by January.
No, he knew about it also.
No, he's saying he didn't know about it at the time. And he said yesterday,
I know,
it was
and that's
aired
not
this morning,
true.
He said he knew about it after the fact.
I know, but that's not true.
I don't want your viewers to, and I know your viewers expect to be fed anti-Trump virulence every single night, and they come away quite satisfied. And let's be fair here. That's true. You should just own it. Just say,
you want me to own that. You won't own
ratings.
what is so obvious, and I don't get
Here's
it.
what's obvious.
You could say, look, did he lie? Yes, he lied. He's not perfect, but it's not illegal.
No,
you could say that. His own lawyer admits he lied.
No. That's not. Is he his current lawyer? Jay Goldberg? When was the last time he was his... No. Answer for me. When was the last time he was his lawyer?
I would argue when he called to ask how to handle Michael Cohen just months ago.
No. When you know who his lawyers are now, right?
Yes.
Rudy Giuliani, Jay Sekulow. Well, you're going to have that conversation.
Oh, I don't think
them.
that just because
But
you're not retained currently doesn't mean you're not a good gauge of the character of your client.
Let me tell you something.
Yes.
Okay. The president spoke on this just this morning for the whole world to see.
Yeah.
He said, she asked him, did you know about the payments? He said, I knew them after they were made. But let's focus on the two big stories of the week, according to CNN and MSNBC, Manafort and Cohen. Let's focus on those. Where in the Manafort trial is Russia, collusion, Trump?
I don't care. The president
care.
lied about what he knew about these women. He should not lie to the American people in their face time and again. The Washington Post does a blow-by-blow take-through. It's the first lie they've ever flagged in their fact check.
I just have a question for you. I have a very simple question for you. Why is it not important for you to replay and talk about the president's own words? Why don't you show him answering that question?
Because he's lying.
No, you don't want people to see him answer the question.
What are you talking about? We play him all the time. I'll play his voice saying to Michael Cohen, well, what are we going to do? And then how are you going to do it? What do you mean about financing?
And Christopher, what
else
did the...
Play the tape. Remind everybody what he said to Michael Cohen.
The president said.
No. Play the tape.
That tape.
No, that's the tape. Play the tape. Play it.
You know what tape we should play?
And I've spoken to Alan Weisselberg about how to set the whole thing up with funding. Yes. And it's all the stuff.
Did you know about the $130,000 payment to Stormy Daniels?
No. Did you know about the payments?
Later on, I knew. Later on.
Yeah, he knew later on. He knew before. He's lying.
He's saying later on. But wait, I think we should all...
Is that Michael Cohen and President Trump talking about the deal?
You know what tape... Wait, you know what tape I want to hear?
Kellyanne.
Tell us what's on the tape of Chris Cuomo and Michael Cohen. What's on the 2-hour tape of the two of you?
Tons of stuff.
Okay, well, tell it.
Tons of stuff.
Transparency,
I'll tell you why I can't.
Accountability, facts first.
Yeah,
why?
I'll tell you why. Because there's a little difference between you and me in the shop you're working for. Integrity.
The White House?
My conversation with him.
You?
How dare me? You admit he's lying about these things. It's as plain as the nose on my face. You should admit he's lying. And you don't. That's why people don't trust you.
No.
That's
you know
why.
What? Maybe your audience doesn't.
And you want me to answer your question? I will. Michael Cohen had a conversation with me. He asked me not. He asked me not to record it. I said I won't. He said just to be careful. Let me have your phone. I said here. He then said we'll take our phones. I'll put them away. He did. He then recorded me on a secondary device.
How do you feel about that?
I think that was dishonest, and it was a bad thing to do.
Dishonest, no intent.
And I'll tell you what, you want to know what we talked about in the conversation? I'm not going to tell you. You know why?
Well, tell us
because it was off
hours.
the record, and I respect that, even though he did me wrong. That's called integrity. What do you do when people aren't watching? I'm still not going to burn him, even though he did something wrong. He can answer that for himself. I'll tell you what, there's nothing on it that I'm worried about.
And
I know why you guys want to leak it, but hold on a second. This isn't about me. You tried, you failed. He is on that tape.
You tried, you
he
failed.
is
Let's
on there with
viral.
Michael Cohen, and he's lying about not knowing before these payments, and you should admit it.
No,
you have to admit it.
No,
you
I don't. Are you kidding me?
I'll tell you why. Because you say to people,
the president just answered
the truth isn't the truth. He says, don't believe what you see and hear.
No. He's saying
it is all destroying people's sense of normalcy and decency in debate and integrity.
You just want to filibuster.
I've asked you 6 times. You won't answer it,
You've asked me 10 times the same question, and let me tell you,
you won't answer it truthfully once.
The president already answered the question.
He's lying.
No, that's what you think.
That's what the Washington Post says. That's what Michael Cohen says. That's what David Pecker says. And I think it's going to wind up being what the court says.
Michael Cohen, who you just said, disappointed you?
Yeah.
By being
You're disappointing me right now. Doesn't mean you're not my friend.
No,
doesn't mean I think you lie all the time just because you're disappointing me.
You've got about 10 times the words I do so far, and I'm the guest. So
because you're not answering a simple question.
You came all the way down here to interview a White House guest.
Go ahead.
Here's a very, very simple answer to you. When you say to me that this is why the audience doesn't trust you, you know why the audience doesn't trust the White House, because all day long on your network, all they hear is how terrible we all are, that we lack integrity, that we lie.
He lies.
What is it you think I lie about? Here, tell the world.
I'm asking
you
Answer. To admit
we're not
that
let
he
you get
is
away
lying
with
about what happened on these payments. I don't
me...
think it is helpful to you to play games about something that's so
Do
plain.
you think it's a lie?
I'll give you that free advice.
Do you think it's a lie, true or false? Do you think it's a lie that ICE and CBP were honored this week on Monday by the President of the United States for all the great work they're doing? That the mayor of Philadelphia danced the jig or whatever the heck he was doing after he announced that Philadelphia would no longer give data to ICE, and turned around and the guy who had been deported came back 5 years later. ICE asked for a detainer for the man. Philadelphia let him go, and he raped a 5-year-old child. None of this is fact. None of this is true. None of this matters.
Who says it's not fact? Who says it's not true?
How is that less relevant than you trying to get me to answer the same question 12 times? Did the President of the United States
keep ducking it. He lied,
I'm
Kellyanne.
not ducking. He answered the question.
He lied.
Why are his words not important to you?
Because he's lying. They are important to me. I'm asking you about them
you think I lie about?
because they are a material misrepresentation of fact for the purposes of deception.
No.
That's a lie.
What crime was committed? What charges were filed against Donald Trump this week?
The bar of proper behavior by a president is not a felony.
Do you think anything that you've just said, excuse me, he didn't commit a felony. Do you think anything
I'm saying you lie, that matters. That is a crime against the American people. It's a crime of leadership. It's a crime of integrity.
He said he
Stop
didn't know
lying to them.
until after.
And
he knew about the payments later on.
He's lying.
And you know what a lie is? That on July 27th, you guys came out with this big report. Nobody's retracting it yet. 3 big bylines.
Oh, so let me get you on the record the other way. Do you think the president's telling the truth? That he never knew about the payments until after they were all done.
He's saying that he knew them after the fact. I never knew about them, and I was a campaign manager. Oh no, you should absolutely care about that.
I care about
him. I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. You should absolutely care that the campaign manager, for the winning part of the campaign, think that there's nothing to be gained in meeting with Russians and talking to people in Moscow instead of Michigan and Mecklenburg County, North Carolina. You should very much care that I don't know about payments.
I care about the president.
Excuse me. And you should be reminded that every single night CNN was featuring another woman with another story. You played the Access Hollywood tape constantly, thinking that it would hurt the candidate. He would never be elected. CNN interfered in the election daily by shifting the scales over to Hillary.
Are we a foreign inimical power?
No, with your phony polling,
this is daffy,
and everybody saying,
excuse me,
no, that he could never win.
People say we didn't cover his lying and bad character enough. That's what I get criticized for.
Christopher, unless you're getting $50 every time you say the word. It used to be collusion. Tonight is lying.
No,
some other day,
they both matter. By the way, both words matter.
Really?
We don't know if there's proof of one. There's an investigation going on that our president disrupts every chance he gets.
You cover that more than the booming economy. You cover that more than the low unemployment rate. You cover that more than the consumer confidence.
He talks about this more than he talks about all of those things.
You were a world-class journalist. He used to go to plane crash sites and cover war.
I go now.
Famine.
I was in Helsinki and saw one of the most embarrassing things I've ever seen in my life.
We saw what you wrote about it. We saw what you wrote about it.
It was
would
really
you like to take that back? Was that a big lie?
No, not a chance.
Right. Was the story that CNN published on July 27th?
It was embarrassing what happened in Helsinki.
Now needs to be walked back a lie.
And I'm glad that you didn't have to experience it the way we did. I'm not ignoring anything. I'm speaking to what is true. And I got to tell you something.
Booming economy.
This is going exactly the way I thought about it.
Consumer confidence. No.
Those are all good indices. I talk about what matters on this show all the time.
You know what matters? That the president was asked the same question that you're asking me, and he answered it.
And he lied.
Only he knows what he believes.
No,
only he knows what he knew.
Only he knows what he believes?
No, he knows what he experienced. Only he knows what he...
But that's not true.
But why? Because you say so.
Because it's not a matter of perspective.
No. Tell me where this is going.
It's not an eyewitness testimony.
Hey, Christopher, tell me where this is going.
He's not the only one who knows if he's telling the truth
Tell me where this is going. Where are the criminal
Michael Cohen
charges?
knows. David Pecker knows.
Where are the impeachment?
Mr. Weisselberg may know.
Do you think he should be impeached?
It's not my call to make.
Yeah, but CNN and MSNBC said the word 222 times yesterday for an average of 3.5, once every 3.5 minutes if you take out
You think he should tell the truth to the American people?
For what purpose?
Do you think he should tell the truth to the American people?
Yes, and I think you should too, and here's the truth.
Do you think that he should be impeached if he has been shown to be lying to the American people consistently about criminal conduct?
Secretary of State Mike Pompeo going back to North Korea again because we're trying to denuclearize.
Is he going there before or after he goes to South Africa to help out those white farmers?
No.
that the president mistakenly told people are being hunted down and killed and having their land stolen.
The Iran nuclear deal was a smart thing, because I think pulling out of it was.
You don't want to talk about that? The South Africa tweet last night?
I want to talk about what matters to Americans, because I actually talk to them every day. I'm not perched in some anchor's lair, chair, telling everybody, pontificating about what's important to them. I read the mail that comes to the White House, good, bad, and ugly. I go out and talk to people. I travel constantly.
And they say we don't care if the president lies to us about criminal conduct?
What they care about is that the president is doing everything he said he would do. He's keeping his promises.
Did he promise to tell them the truth?
Excuse me, we were told it was going to be global recession and the stock market would crash, including on this network. We were told that everything, the economy would never be the same. It would be a huge disaster, and it went in the opposite direction.
Does that mean it's okay for him to lie about criminal conduct?
Christopher, is this all you're going to say?
I want you to own it. I want you to own it the way his former lawyer did.
You want me to say something.
I want you to own the truth. That's what I want you to do.
Denied. And I work next to him every single day. You know what I see? I see somebody who's doing his best for this country, and the results show it, and you know it. What is the message of his opposition?
Hold on. I don't know it.
You don't know it?
I don't know it.
You know why?
I don't. You know why?
Because you and I are wealthy.
Because the division.
Because our kids are already in good
You're using
schools.
one simple metric of success in leadership.
If you're one of the 6 million Americans who have received a bonus or a raise, if you're one
who did better in that tax cut? People like us or the people who voted for Trump in the middle class? Who did better? 83 cents of every dollar went to people like us. You want to play facts? We can. I study them all the time.
How's that?
Please. I treat you
You're not
as
letting the woman
somebody who comes in here to represent the president, man, woman, or other. You're going to get the same treatment from me.
You're not letting me speak.
I am, but you are dissembling and you're distracting. Nobody can shut you down.
You're not even letting me speak.
83 cents of every dollar went to the top. Okay? The black unemployment rate went down with the main unemployment rate, but relative to white, it is still just as bad. Okay?
Why doesn't it matter
That's the right
to you that
measure.
It's the lowest in history? Why doesn't it matter to you that
it does matter.
Excuse me, why doesn't it matter to you there are 6.6 million available jobs right now for Americans who want it? That the president is working on prison reform. He's breaking the back of the opioid crisis. Yesterday in Cleveland,
he's not breaking the back of the opioid crisis.
It went up
terrible.
22.
We both know it is. It's spreading. You guys want to address it, and I respect that. I can't let you say things that aren't true. That's not what the show's about.
What are the stats?
That's Fox. You go to Fox for that.
Excuse me. Okay, I'm so glad you mentioned Fox because none of you are able to get through most of your shows without mentioning them.
What are you talking about? I almost never mention them by word name.
It's not a good look to be so jealous of Fox News' ratings.
I'm jealous of the opportunities they get to test power. They just don't take them.
Sure.
That's what I'm jealous of.
Earhart asked her every question you're asking me. That's where you got the answers.
Listen, I'm not in the business of attacking the people in the business.
You do. You do constantly. No, you didn't let me talk about the things that matter.
Let me tell you.
You're either going to let me
argue the economy, you got to be straight about it. You want to talk about African Americans and the economy, be straight about it.
Here's the
gap between rich and poor, the gap between black and white is as bad as it's been, and it should be addressed. You don't get credit for what you don't do.
How do you think poverty went in the last 8 years? Do you think it went up or down, the number of people in poverty? Oh, I know, up by over 700,000. How many people, what is the unemployment rate among African Americans, Hispanics, veterans, people with just a high school degree or less, women? Way down. Why isn't that good? Why didn't you say...
It was good. It was good when it was happening under Obama, too. Now it's good that it's happening under Trump. Of course it was.
He raised taxes.
Of course it was. I just did a whole comparative analysis of it.
How many Americans don't have health care 8.5 years after Obamacare? Oh, I know. Close to 30
million. And what did you do to try to wreck it? By removing the individual mandate, now putting in the cost-sharing revenues. Nice job. Let's see what's happening with people's insurance now.
And
it's spiking all over the country.
I'm not going to let you get away with saying that we're not breaking the back of the opioid crisis because it's a whole government approach. And the House legislation, H.R. 6, I know it'll never get a platform otherwise on CNN because it's too important to America.
Who brought you on TV to talk about opioids?
H.R. 6 passed 396.
Who brought you on TV?
Not you, because you're interrupting me.
Who brought you on TV to talk about opioids?
What is it about powerful, articulate women on TV that bother you as guests?
Hey,
Christopher.
You don't have to play cheap with me.
It went from 2015 to 16. The number of overdose deaths in this country increased by 22%. From 16 to 17, it increased, but by 10%. We're trying to slow the growth. We didn't get here overnight. We're not going to get here
overnight. Slowing the growth is not shutting it down. I think that what you're trying to do is good. I think the president saying what he said the other day, that you have to look at what China's doing and how they're importing all these opioids wrongly into this country.
Well, they're not. They're synthetic opioids. It's named fentanyl. If your audience doesn't know what fentanyl is,
of course they know what it is. We talk about it on a regular basis. I did a documentary about it. I had you on to talk about it. We cover as it moves across the country. What you're saying is disingenuous,
more
and it's another attempt to make people dislike the media, and that's un-American.
Impeachment. What do you think is mentioned more on CNN? 29,000 people died last year in this country because 30,000 close to it because of fentanyl.
Matters.
0 died because of impeachment. 0 died because of collusion. 0 died because of the word lying.
That's not the bar
yes,
of
it is.
presidential
This
behavior.
Is what I, no.
So here's what you're saying.
It's the bar of why I work in the White House. I'm here to help people.
So if the economy's good, then you can lie whenever you want. You can divide the country any way you want.
Let me ask
you can
again.
play to
What
racist sympathies whenever you want, but it's okay because the stock market's up.
Tell everybody, what do you think
Is that your
about?
argument? I think the president lied about something that refers to criminal conduct.
Thank you for telling everybody I'm not a liar. Who's telling you right now, why do you have her on?
Hold on, I didn't call you a liar. I'm saying the president lied about something. You refuse to acknowledge it.
And the president
that makes you
answer that question. I'm telling you.
In the
no,
lying.
It doesn't. Oh, cut it out.
Sure it does.
Cut the crap.
Sure it does. If you won't own something that you know is a lie, you're
where are the charges? Where are the
lie.
charges against the president?
You don't need to have charges
yes, you
to be a liar.
Hey, Chris.
And you know
Christopher, where are the charges against the president? Show me.
There are none.
In the
and by law, there probably can't be any.
So
that's
what
a
is
false
the
standard.
Here? No,
he was just named as a co-conspirator with Michael Cohen.
He wasn't named as a co-conspirator.
He's in the plea agreement. Who was the federal person running for office? Was it somebody else?
Listen to me.
Was it someone else?
Has the president been able to respond to that?
100 million times.
Okay, and he did on tape yesterday or today.
And he's lying. Do you understand?
That's your opinion.
The Washington Post covered it all. Michael Cohen says it. David Pecker says it. The government says it.
All of you were against him. You said he could never win. You said he would never make it there. You're still covering the 2016. Do you think anything you've discussed today or anything in the Manafort or Cohen trials, excuse me, or Cohen pleading, anything that we discussed tonight would have made Hillary go to Wisconsin? I mean, what is this about?
I don't care about that.
No, you're still talking about 2016.
Distraction.
No, you're talking about 2016.
Very Trumpy.
No, excuse me, to quote, influence an election. How exactly?
What do I care about any of that?
No.
He's the president of the United States.
No, you got to live with it.
He lied about criminal conduct.
About that.
That's why I'm talking about it. Had he lost, I wouldn't care what he was lying about.
No,
I don't care about his personal life.
Excuse me, you're talking about 2016.
No, I'm not talking about 2016.
To influence an You are.
I'm talking about him lying about these payments again and again to the American people.
The Manafort stuff in 2006. But
and if he wants to pardon Manafort, he can.
Bank fraud
That's
and
his
tax
power.
Fraud,
we hear the talk about it. Rudy says that if the president said he didn't want any pardons until this is all over, maybe that's true, maybe that isn't. It's up to him. It's his pardon power.
Right.
So if he wants to pardon Manafort, he can. That's his right.
He's never discussed that with me directly, though. He's probably discussed it with his lawyers, but that's just...
Do you think he should pardon Paul Manafort?
I think that if you invite a White House guest on, the counselor of the president who spends, is with the president every day, talks to him every day, was in 3 meetings with him just today, you ought to at least have basic curiosity, if not decency and integrity, to ask me what it is that we do there, what it is we're working on. CNN has had wall-to-wall coverage today about Sessions. You're not covering the meeting that they had together.
You don't think it matters that he keeps disrespecting his attorney general?
The attorney general was at the White House
undermining confidence in him by the American people in his own departments?
No, this is very simple. The president is very clear on this through his tweets, through his statements, through his interview with Fox News, highly rated Fox News, Christopher. He said to them that, since you had to go there, he said that he's upset, he's frustrated, rightly so.
Then get rid of him.
No. Many of us are frustrated that we've never had an investigation on the other side. Where's the investigation of Comey and McCabe and Bruce
some people investigate things on the basis of merits.
Hold on. You think it's not
So you got your own attorney general in there who loves Donald Trump, even though he just defecates all over the guy on a regular business.
Whoa.
And, well, he does. I've never seen anybody treat somebody the way he's treating his attorney general. And he should just get rid of him.
Well, they were in a meeting
the
today that I witnessed.
Of asking him
a very
to leave
lengthy meeting
if he's just
about
going to attack him
something that will actually impact Americans. No American is impacted by your nonsense collusion, your fantasies about impeachment.
So he wants Jeff Sessions to help advance an agenda when he tells everybody that he doesn't respect them all the time?
No. They were together after that. Aren't you the least bit interested? Is your audience
I think it speaks to Jeff Sessions
interested?
having a hell of a lot of sense of duty to the American people.
What this president has been able to accomplish, I would at least expect you, as somebody who loves his country, and I know you do, to say, you know what, Kellyanne, here are the 5 things Donald Trump has done as president that I can get behind, that I'm proud of, can you name them?
No, my job.
No, you can't.
Exactly. My job is
to
do, because that's not my job.
Your job is not to love this country and to say the president of the United States,
by making sure that the integrity of its leadership and their ability to look
that's
the
what rich
people of
elitist
this
people
country in the
say.
face and tell
But
the
folks who
truth
get
is
raises and
intact.
bonuses, the corporate tax rate going from 35 to 21% that's unleashed wealth, the
Does the truth
repatriation
matter?
of wealth.
Yes or no?
That's the truth.
Does the truth matter?
The truth always matters, but
Good.
you're not
Is
telling
he
the
telling
whole
the truth about these payments?
Do you ever hear the whole truth and nothing but the truth? You decide selectively what you're going to
Is
cover.
he telling
you
it all
don't
counts?
Tell us.
Does he tell the truth about these payments?
There was wall-to-wall coverage about a missing woman in Iowa until she was found, and God rest her soul. And then you don't even have the decency.
You're not letting her soul rest.
Oh, yes,
You're
I
waving
am.
her like a flag.
No, I would never.
We're hijacking her grief.
How dare you?
If you're not with us about immigrants, then you don't care about Molly Tibbetts. How dare you?
No,
and how dare the president you do that? Just like Kate Steinle. So if you don't want to abuse immigrants the way the president does, if you don't want to assume they're all murders the way the president wants people to believe, then you don't care about Kate Steinle and Molly Tibbetts.
He has never said that, but you don't care about the ones who have been murdered. To say this is how it happened, this is how we can all
over
come together.
17,000 murders in this country in 2016. How many times has he stood up and said this is an atrocity what happened?
Many times.
Only when the people who kill them are someone that he wants to target.
That's not true. But what happened to the Democrats? CNN covered 55 minutes of a live meeting in the cabinet room in late January where he was flanked by Democrats and Republicans from the House and the Senate to talk about DACA, the Dreamers. Where did they go? Why aren't they there? Why when the Democrats talk about immigration?
Schumer told me, and he denied it.
Why when they talk about immigration,
Christopher,
do they only think of the Dreamers? Why?
There's the truth.
Why don't they respect ICE and customs? Do you really want
nice
ICE?
us-them thing. Are we back to the farmers in South Africa, the real racism problem?
Abolished? Yes or no? Do you think that's a good idea to have immigration?
It's not my job to make policy decisions. It is my job to test them. And I'll tell you what I think is wrong.
They interdicted enough
saying that you care about Molly Tibbetts and calling her permanently separated from her family. Is that the way you describe someone when they're murdered?
I just said God rest her soul, and I didn't say her name.
He said she was permanently separated from her family. Is that the time to play ugly politics because he's upset about what happened with him putting kids in cages?
But why can't
permanently separated?
Why can't you say what happened? Why can't
you
say there are
I did 2
cracks
segments
in the
on it yesterday. Of course there are cracks in the system.
That's not the
of
way you
course her
refer to
murder, but for that man being here illegally, wouldn't have happened.
Do you think we should get a vote on Kate's law? Do you think the grief of Laura
I think that you should do whatever you can to stop illegal immigration, but you don't have to treat the immigrants like crap to do that.
No.
You don't have to reduce yourself and make you less human and less American to do it.
He said he would do a deal on the Dreamers. Where are the Democrats? Because where did they go?
They brought him a deal and he said no.
They didn't.
He said, I want the whole wall. They gave him money for the wall. He said, I want more wall. It was a fugazi promise, just like his executive order to fix the kids' separation. He was never going to do anything about it. He put it on Congress. It says it at the top of the executive order.
And you have one, just own it. You know that your party started this year off shutting down the government right after they had voted against the most historic tax cut.
What I have is a purpose, and the purpose is to try to test power and get them to tell the truth to the American people.
Don't you care at all
That's the purpose.
The president is working on prison reform so that
Let's see what he does.
Pay their debt to society.
Let's see what he does.
And are eligible, and that we're trying to help them re-enter into society.
Let's see what he does. I think that's great.
The money that we've gotten for opioids, a historic amount of money.
You know what's also great?
Congress.
Not calling them sons of bitches. That's also great.
Who?
People of color.
Oh, stop it, Christopher.
Who was he talking about?
You don't care.
Who was he talking about?
You really don't care that he's trying to help people. You really
How is he helping people by saying that?
Was that about the national? Is that about him saying that you stand for the flag and you show respect to the military?
And then he called them that and said, "Get the hell out of the country." Is that how you support Black Americans? What do you think
about the flag? Do you do this when they play the national anthem, or don't you? Yes or no?
I do.
Okay, why?
Because it's my damn choice.
Do you disrespect
That's
the people?
why. Because it's my damn choice. Because I'm an American and I'll exercise my freedom the way I want to if it doesn't hurt anybody else. And that's what they're doing too.
Because pretty much everybody in the stands is doing that.
Okay.
I've been there.
God bless them, and that is their right, and it's your right not to.
That's his right as the president.
And last time I checked, there are few things that are as much of a signature right in America, as I understood it, than to protest injustice in a nonviolent fashion.
Do you think peace is better than war? Do you think good relations with leaders around the world is better?
Then he should stop saying that he's going to make war if people don't do what he wants.
No, he has said he'd like to bring peace where he can. He said that. That's why he went to Helsinki. That's why he went to Singapore. That's why he tore up the awful Iran nuclear deal, which just shoveled over pallets of cash and turned over too much to them. That's why just this week, Benjamin Netanyahu said that this is the best friend Israel has ever had. This is why a very democratic council member, I believe, or a state assembly member from Queens said thank you to the president for deporting this Nazi. I mean, cover it. Say, Kellyanne, you know what? I disagree with the president. I'm going to hound you all day long.
It's not about disagreeing with the president or agreeing with the president. It's about holding him to account for what he says and what he does.
You know what? Hold him up when he does things like his ICE deport a 95-year-old Nazi who's responsible for many, many deaths.
When you refuse to tell the truth to the American people, you surrender the right to get applause.
Why did other presidents say that they were going to do that, not do that? Why did other presidents say, I'm going to move the embassy to Jerusalem and fail to do that?
There's plenty going on in the country and in the world that needs attention. But I will tell you this now, and I make it to you as a promise, all right? As you know, nobody works harder than we do to do this job, all right?
Who? You?
In this place, on my team, in this shop of CNN. We work very hard to tell people what is true and to test power.
But Chris,
nobody outworks us every day.
Okay,
I'm telling you this.
Let me just have a word about that.
All I wanted to tell you was that you need to own the truth.
Most of the time.
I sound like a scold.
The truth, the truth,
you
the truth.
called me. I haven't been called Christopher since I was in kindergarten.
Wait a second.
You say it in a condescending fashion. I never say anything to you about it. Listen, we know what it is, and I'm saying that's your style. That's fine. I gotta go now.
I'm sorry.
I'm out of time. I gave you more time than anybody else would.
Except me. No, you gave yourself a lot of time because you talked pretty much the entire time.
I don't think that's true. I'll give you a word count at the end.
But Christopher, look. Well, the guest should have many more words. You know that.
No, but I don't. I think that the job is to test power, and if you won't answer the question, you're going to get checked.
You didn't test power, but you don't even ask what we work on. And once in a while,
I'm asking you about things that matter, not just what you want to talk about. He's lying to the American people about criminal conduct.
Okay, you want to talk about the truth?
He should have disclosed loans that he didn't. He should have told the truth about what happened. He shouldn't have been part of a conspiracy to get around the election laws. Those are all things he could own and still not have any criminal experience.
Do you respect me in the job I'm trying to do on behalf of the country?
Yes.
Do you think I need to be in the White House?
No.
Why do you think I'm there?
Because I think you think you're doing the right thing.
Okay, and I am. Because I love this country, and I'm one small molecule in a government that's trying to do well. Do you respect our cabinet? Do you respect the vice president? Do you respect the president? Do you see what we're trying to do?
I respect what I see and what I hear. That's what I respect.
When the veterans have the Whistleblower Protection Act, the Accountability Act, VA choice that allows them to access care in the private sector.
And when you have his country club buddies making decisions for the VA who haven't been vetted, who haven't been asked whether or not they are qualified to do it, it is true.
That's not true. I was Secretary Wilkie yesterday. He was confirmed by the Senate something like 86-9.
And he had these guys from Mar-a-Lago who are helping on the side. It should have never been done that way.
Again, you're not telling the veterans that he gave them disposition of their GI Bill benefits or the disability benefits.
Because that part matters. All right, look,
this is important.
I gotta go.
It does matter. 24/7 hotline at the VA. That's okay. But next time, let the guest speak.
Look,
and I won't.
I will always give you an opportunity to come on what matters, and this stuff I'm talking about matters.
The whole truth also includes all the good economic news and the progress we're making around the world. No,
the economy is true.
That truth is just what you think it is.
No. No, it's what you try to make people believe it is. The truth is, how's the economy doing? Did he lie about these payments? Separate but equal. Thank you for coming on the show.
God bless you. Christopher is endearing. It's not a scold.
Stay, don't leave yet. We got to wait for the commercial. All right, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll debate what everything that happened this week means. Both sides represented, as always.